Hey everyone, we're back.
What's happening?
I am loving these conversations, okay?
Me
I
too.
am getting a joy out of having these conversations with you. I think I'm enjoying more, not just even the conversations that we're having, because we have these kind of conversations all the time in our house, but
Very often.
the fact that we have put ourselves back out there to film content so that we can impact people. I think that that is super dope in what we're doing. So that I think that's why I'm even more excited about these conversations that we're having
Agreed.
because they will impact people as they watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's been my whole thing.
Yeah.
If it's pointless or there's no carrot at the end that impacts,
Yeah.
I'm just not really interested,
Yeah.
especially with everything else we got going on in our lives right now. So
Yeah.
it's a blessing and a true testament of grace to even be able to be in a position to be able to add value to others through, conversation. So, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate this. I
Yeah,
really
I
do, and
do
I enjoy
too.
it too.
I do too. So today we're diving into I don't even want to use the word juicy, but I feel like lately it's been a trend. And it's not that it's a bad
Hmm.
thing, but around counseling, around therapy.
Okay.
And so when I say that,
Yeah.
I'm not using trend as a negative thing, but what I'm saying is that it has become normalized.
More
People are
accepted.
talking about it a lot more. And if you are a part of the Black and Brown community, you know how far we've come when we're talking about therapy, when we're talking about counseling. Um, that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But particularly today, talking about counseling and what that looks like when we're talking about finances, of course. So,
I
I
like it.
definitely want to talk about a few things,
Okay.
and we can start with.
I like this.
Yeah,
I like it already.
yeah, I was gonna say we could jump right in, right?
Okay.
And again, counseling is one thing, but that there's a niche area of
Hmm.
counseling for finances. There's financial counselors
Yeah.
out there. So if you would just touch on like what is a financial counselor for people who don't know?
So, all right, great question. There are actually a few different types of financial counselors, though,
Oh,
and a lot of
okay.
people don't know that. So you have financial counselors, you have financial therapists, and then you have financial psychologists. All of them do
Wow.
similar things, but very different.
Yeah.
So, for instance, a financial counselor, like a AFC and a accredited financial counselor,
Mhm.
their job is to essentially educate and walk you through how to position yourself, and also a portion of their job is kind of addressing the nuances and financial behaviors or financial economics behind what you do.
Mhm.
Financial therapists are typically somebody in the therapy profession, like a social worker or somebody
Mhm.
who works with individuals or families to essentially help them navigate financially, but more so trying to kind of get them to draw the distinction between their habits and their financial outcomes.
Mm.
And then a financial psychologist, they go in usually a bit more deeply.
Yeah.
Typically, a financial psychologist has to be a psychologist first, and then
Yeah.
they learn the financial instruments to be able to address. Financial therapists can be half and half. It's people coming out of finance, picking up psychology,
Yeah.
and vice versa. And then an AFC or a financial counselor, typically they go through a program and a credentialing process.
Yeah.
All of them are respected. None of them are really widely known,
Yeah.
specifically because I think counseling and psychology and really even addressing mental health is not a priority in this country.
Mhm.
Therefore, unlike a lot of other countries and states,
Yeah.
certain influences that would make certain things like psychosocial hazards in the workplace, um, there's certain guarantees that a lot of other countries have to where the company can't overstress, overwork,
Oh,
do too much,
yeah.
but that's not the American way.
That's not what.
So so here
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, you exist, but stay
Yeah.
over there in that box in that corner, and if
Yeah.
somebody's seeking you out, they'll find
They'll find you.
you. Yeah.
And so that's why, prior to us, and going on this journey of trying to be more impactful when we're talking around finances, I had never heard of a financial counselor. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
be honest, but I can see the true benefits in having a counselor, a therapist, a psychologist. Like in our previous episode, when we're talking about how emotions, psychological thoughts, all these things are they're just interconnected, right? So nothing is
Absolutely.
independent, right?
Mm-mm.
So as someone who has been in the finance industry in this space, and now you're starting to study a lot of these behaviors and a lot of the psychological things when it comes to finances and how we react to them. What are you saying? What are you noticing are some of the stressors or the topics that come up commonly when we're talking about behaviors, when we're talking about emotions? Like what are the common things that you're seeing among people, especially Americans?
Good. All right. So that's great. There are three primary ones.
Okay.
Three primary ones. So um, let me make sure I put this right. So the first one would be grief.
Ooh,
So because most people they experience
wow.
anger and fear, right? But then they're blindsided by this sense of grief. Essentially, like they're mourning the version of themselves that they could have been last year, and maybe even promised themselves that they were going to be. And then you see, and that's when you see people kind of, um, and it's very, very equivalent to mourning, but that's when you see people kind of pressing themselves even more because of the bad decisions that they made. Essentially,
Mm.
if I would have stuck to my budget, I could have done this. But now here I am a year later, and
Ooh.
I essentially killed that person I said I was going to create
Mhm.
because I decided to go and do this other thing instead, or because the finances didn't work out. How often do
Wow.
we hear, I just thought I'd have more by now. I just thought I'd
Wow.
be here by now. That is grief.
Wow. Okay, so that's deep. I definitely wanna unpack that because
Hmm.
that is interesting because I have been studying a lot too when it comes to, like, how we move psychologically, and it's like the more times that you let yourself down, when you step back up to do this thing that you
Yeah.
failed at,
Hmm.
you're starting from a place of, you don't trust yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Insecurity and fear.
insecurity, there's an
Hmm.
insecurity, there's a fear there,
Hmm.
and you don't even realize it because 'cause you're not thinking it's that deep. It's like, "Hey, I made the plan, new year, me. I made the
Hmm.
plan, I didn't stick to it." You're thinking no big deal, but every time you start a new year, new
You
me,
got to
you
regain
fall into
momentum.
the same pattern, but each
Hmm.
time you're starting from a place farther back than when you were there the year
Exactly.
prior,
And that
and you don't
is
realize
and that
that.
well, you wouldn't because you didn't address the root. You tried to create something on the
Wow,
surface
and you keep letting yourself down.
because you're not addressing the root.
There's a grief there.
Yeah, that's absolutely grief. I should
Hmm,
think about it this way.
that's pretty deep.
There's a person, maybe even somebody listening that if they constantly look back
Yeah.
on, dang, I can't believe I made this purchase. I
Ah,
made this decision. And if I would not have done that,
I would.
I could have done this or I would have done that. The time's gone. You already made the bad
You're living
decision.
in a hypothetical or,
Exact.
you know,
But how often do we run that? Especially if the decision that we made did not play out the way
we
we wanted
thought
it
it
to,
would.
and so now we have resentment, which is that second emotion that comes up quite often.
Wow.
Um, it's not just at me, the tax guy. It's not
Yeah,
it's not at it's not at the spouse and the partner.
yeah.
Um, it is it is a matter of having to be accountable, but also needing to essentially associate what exactly is going on within the ecosystem that you've created.
Mhm.
And if you've experienced a situation, maybe it's growth,
Mhm.
maybe it's not. Maybe it's a matter of I just know that this could have been the case if I would not have taken on this extra responsibility. For
Yeah,
instance, you bought that new car. Now you
yeah.
got a car payment. Duh. You knew that when
Mm,
you got it,
mhm.
but you weren't expecting for your insurance to go up that
Yep.
much. Now you got to put premium gas in it and you just lost your job.
So you're saying there's a resentment for the ecosystem
Mhm.
that your decisions created.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
let me just jump back one before we jump to resentment. Grief
Mhm.
is grieving the decisions you made
And the life you
and
could
the
have had.
life you could have had, the person you could have been, all the
Mhm.
couldas, coulda, woulda,
Mhm.
shouldas, all the
And resentment
things.
is exactly it's a
This is
stem
building
off
on
of that.
that. Wow.
So now I'm not just blaming my decisions. I'm also now looking at everything within the
Within the
ecosystem.
ecosystem.
So
That's
yeah,
deep. That's
yeah.
layered. That's
Mhm.
layered.
'Cause now I'm mad at the car I bought. The stupid
Wow.
behind car. Oh Lord forbid that warranty done went out and
Yeah.
I'm still making payments.
Yeah.
I knew I didn't even need this
'Cause now
thing,
you're
but you
in
bought it
this.
anyway.
Your credit's attached to it.
Mhm.
Money is
Yeah.
allocated to it. This is now allowing you to look at the entire ecosystem, and now
Yeah.
there's a resentment there because
Exactly.
this has added extra stress to you.
Mhm.
More money coming out each month.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that last one is
Hmm.
what we refer to as shame-induced paralysis.
Shame-induced paralysis.
Yep.
Yeah. Go
So
ahead and talk
clients are
about
often
that.
shocked by how a simple piece of paper in the mail can make them feel like a bad and irresponsible person.
Wait.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Let's
yeah.
talk about that.
Now, hey, look, so for instance, you get that bill. Maybe it's from the IRS.
Okay.
You did your taxes, but you forgot you forgot that you pulled money from an insurance policy.
Mhm.
That didn't get reported. Now you
Mm.
gotta pay the taxes on that. In
Mhm.
addition, you're accruing fees.
Mhm. Mhm.
How irresponsible were you?
Mm.
Also, that tells us a whole nother subconscious narrative. I'm not as on top of my stuff as I thought I was. I'm not as responsible as I thought I was. I should have caught this.
These are the seeds that are planted.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
When you get the notice
Mhm.
because you didn't do something,
Mhm.
these are the thoughts that you have.
Mhm. Or and sometimes it's not even the letter. All right. So hands down, shameless plug. Unified Principles, one of the baddest tax practices in the country, in my opinion.
Right.
You were supposed to owe 30,000.
Right.
You owe 15, 20.
Right.
Don't matter.
Yeah.
The fact that you got to pay and you
Yeah.
probably don't even have the money to
To
pay it,
pay.
even though you made 120, 130 grand cash. Now all of a sudden you feeling like a POS.
Mm.
You're like, dang, bro, I made all this money. First thing when you get the W-2, I made that much?
Yeah. 'Cause it don't feel like it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then secondary emotion, oh crap, how much am I gonna have to pay in taxes?
Mhm.
Then once you get the number, even if it's lower than you thought it would be,
Mhm.
oh no, what was me? What am I gonna
Mhm.
do? I didn't prepare myself.
Not the voice.
Yeah, I'm just
What was
saying.
he? Right, right.
And then, well, now shame.
Yeah.
Can I get on a payment plan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, but you're gonna accrue more fees for
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
payments. Now anger's back.
So everything is a vicious cycle is what
Yeah.
I'm hearing.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think that's why this conversation is important because there are people that are trained,
Yeah.
in this field in a different way than your typical finance people.
Yes.
They're dealing with uh
Emotional baggage
the
or bondage.
emotional, the psychological aspects of all of this because again, as we mentioned in the previous episode, that this is bigger than finance, it's bigger than money.
Much.
It actually starts at the foundational root of internally our mental, our emotional, all of the things. And so the fact that there are counselors out there that can help with these things, how can or is there a specific thing that counselors do when you're dealing with finances that can help someone kind of overcome some of these thoughts, these emotions around it, right? So it's one thing to set up the financial plan to be better at it, but
Mhm.
the things that happen when you do get the bill, how do you manage these emotions of not going to that place of self-doubt and resentment and grief? How can a counselor step in and help someone with those kinds of emotions?
Great question. So I'm gonna answer that, but I
Yeah.
need to kind of backtrack a little bit
Yeah, go ahead.
because with counselors and different financial or behavioral health experts,
Yeah.
um, everybody's everybody's got a different approach.
Okay.
I'm in that world, but I'm also kind of transcended beyond your basics because of my depth.
Okay.
When I went into the world of financial psychology, I'd already had almost 20 years experience and I've got a lot of data. I've been
True.
researching this stuff for a long time. I've just not outwardly done
Right.
anything with it until now. But one thing I know is uh, you can put yourself into a shame spiral that'll completely shut down your prefrontal cortex. In other words, you can shame yourself to a point where you freeze up and shut down.
So this is
S
neurological
so so
at
so
this
I personally, and this is me, I'm studying from the neurological standpoint.
right.
I'm going deeper than just the philosophical or theoretical standpoint
Right.
because I experienced a stroke from stress-induced
Stress.
trauma,
Yeah.
and a lot of that wasn't necessarily chasing the bag, but it was obligation to the things that
Ooh.
gave me the bag.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
I'd be willing to kill myself
Right.
essentially and figuratively and literally
Literally, yeah.
uh in order to get the job done
Yeah.
because people depended on me, but I had to create a distinction between who I am in business or in accordance to my financial responsibilities
Mhm.
versus who I am as a person, as a man,
As an individual.
in regard as an individual and in regards to the way God designed me and placed me
Ooh,
here.
that's good.
Everybody doesn't believe in spirituality. I have to lead with it because of where I stand.
Right.
And that being said, even if you're not a person of faith, it still stands to be true. You're here for a reason.
Here for a reason, yeah.
Um, but to go into the question, you have to one, you have to separate identity from finance. You
Oh,
have to decouple your actual tangible, realistic, real world value and worth
yeah.
from your net worth.
Yeah, let's talk about that, right?
Okay, okay.
Before we answer about how a counselor can help, I really want to talk about that separating your identity from your finances because that just when you said that, right? Something popped up in my head. When you ask someone, you know, what's one of the first questions you ask someone when you meet them? It's like,
What do
what do
you
you
do?
do?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Yep.
And okay, now I'm gonna be totally honest and
Come on.
real in this space
Please do.
I've had emotions come up when I've been in a space where someone's asked me what I do, and the answer
Don't know how to answer.
that I truthfully give doesn't make me feel good to say to them. There's a
Mhm.
shame that comes from saying, you know, I'm in between projects or I'm doing this or you want to be the one to say, no, I've got this going on, my business on it, da 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 da, because we focus so much on the identity piece of what are you doing. Typically, that is how you earn your money,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And the responses that you get when you tell somebody, I'm a lawyer or I'm a doctor, it's like, ooh, but you
Yeah.
tell someone, I'm a teacher or whatever it is that you
Service worker. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
whatever it is, and you have a totally different reaction
That is
one
very true.
from the person, and so that can create some internal shame
Yep.
just based on how people perceive you. But then if you personally, like for me, think that you should be farther along in life or that you should have these titles attached to your identity, there's a shame that you have to sit with and you have to unpack. Why do you feel like you have to have this title for you to be important, for you to feel worthy or valuable?
Yes.
That's something that one is an issue.
Major.
You should not
Major.
tie your value and your worth to a title,
Absolutely
okay?
not.
Because that's neither here nor there when we're talking about how we are made up as people. Are
Absolutely.
we kind? Are we generous? Are we good people? Like these are the things that at our core we should really be worried about. But I think again, much to my point, is society will have you feeling like it's because I'm not this or that I don't have value because we, especially in the Western culture, put so much emphasis on money,
Yes.
material, status. We care less about morals, values, like all the things
Health.
that truly
Yeah.
matter.
Absolutely.
So again, I can personally say
Absolutely.
that I've been in a space where, and I've had to sit with it
Me
because I'm
too.
like, why did that bother me? Or why do I feel this kind of pressure and shame around the fact that I'm in between this or I'm trying to figure stuff out? It's life. We all trying to figure it out,
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's really good,
Yeah.
separating your identity from your finances.
Yeah. We've all been groomed to attach ourselves to whatever facade will allow us to be the most highly receptive, in my
That's
opinion.
gonna do this for
Yeah.
a lot of people.
So okay,
Yeah.
yeah, let me break that down. So most of us have been conditioned by way of nurturing, which means we've been brought up and taught
Yeah.
that in order to have value in this land, in this world, in this place, we have to be, we have to hold certain job titles. We have
Yeah.
to be in certain classes as far as financially. We have
Yeah.
to carry ourselves a certain type of way.
Yeah.
We need to, all the way down from if you're black and from the South, don't you leave this house looking any kind of way,
Yeah.
or don't you go in here and embarrass me in front of these other people.
Yeah.
Or if you're of island descent or African culture, you need to be an engineer, lawyer, or doctor.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're essentially not successful.
Wow.
Meanwhile, I know teachers that are millionaires and lawyers that only make $50,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
But the world's perception doesn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they're looking at is what is most highly seen
Yeah.
versus snapshots and reels.
What's respected? Yeah.
So if you wear a suit and drive a nice car, 9 times out of 10, I want to be like you.
Yes.
That's actually why I stopped driving foreign vehicles
Mm-hmm.
and why I stopped dressing up so often, because
that's you rebelling against that.
oh yeah, hell
Like
yeah.
100%.
Absolutely,
Like,
absolutely.
I'm not playing into the look, right? Because
No.
that's all it is. It's a facade. You
it is a
don't know
facade.
what is going on.
Exactly. And if you're not careful, that facade will try to consume your true identity.
It does sneak
And
in
now
there.
and now you're lost, because it's going to start out, well, I just want to look good.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you start to feel what the world has for you, oh well, shoot, I got to keep this
The whole
going.
time that you're moving from an insecurity.
Now, exactly.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you're either moving through stress,
Yeah.
through trauma,
Yeah.
through anxiety, through
Yeah.
insecurities, but you're trying to play to the facade because you
Yeah.
want to play the
You
game.
want to look the part.
The crazy part
Have the
is
title. Yeah.
exactly, but the crazy part is the guy that owns the business that the person you're chasing looks
The image.
yeah.
Yeah.
That guy in that suit, he works for the guy who never wears
You would
one.
bypass him on
You-
the street. You
absolutely.
wouldn't even think.
You
yeah.
would you never know.
But I feel like those people have gotten to a place where they no longer have to prove to everyone else
Right.
that they have materials.
Exactly.
They
They know
have a sense of self-value.
they know their worth.
That's it.
I know my worth
That's
to
it.
a point where I don't have to
Have to
prove my
impress.
worth to anybody else.
Yeah.
There is no one to impress.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if my contribution to this world has a good ripple effect and
Yeah.
impact, then what I wear, drive, or hell, let's be real, where I live, as long as it's safe and gives me what I need, is irrelevant.
Because it's either an impact move or it's a status-seeking move.
Absolutely.
Right?
Either it's creating more value and
Yep.
multiplying greatness,
Yep.
or it's depreciating your pockets and you're going to feel it later. One way or the other, you're going to feel it.
That's a whole psychological thing, right?
Yeah.
And that also takes me back to what you like to say a lot, and it is the scarcity mindset. So while you might have acquired more materially, you're still operating in a space of scarcity.
Yep.
Because just because you've gained the money, just because you've gained the wealth and all of the things that come with the status, you've not done the work to address why you feel the need to make certain purchases to let other people know that you have money.
Exactly.
That's the issue. That is always the root.
Exactly. And guess what?
Oh my
And
goodness.
guess what? If I don't like who I am, don't know who I am, don't know what I'm here for, then I'm going to feel even more lonely in that 10,000 square foot mansion
Yeah.
with my 5 cars than I would in that 500 square foot condo with my 1 hoopty.
Because
all
it boils down to the fact that money doesn't change anything. If it does, it exacerbates exactly
it
who you
increases
are.
capacity.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it really just
Yeah.
increases who you are in the current moment.
Yes,
That's why I said if you
absolutely.
don't work on the things before you have it, your habits don't change when you get it.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
don't become a better person when you get the money. You don't
No.
become a more responsible person when you get the money.
Exactly.
You're going to have those same habits. You're going to have the same thought process.
Yep.
Even though you got more money.
Exactly. How many people do we know
Wow.
become wealthy
Yeah.
and then lose it all
Lose
within
it
3 to
all.
5 years?
Yeah.
Whether you're an athlete, an entertainer, an artist, an entrepreneur, whatever the case may be, maybe you won the lottery.
Yeah.
It does not matter.
Yeah.
That is my whole thing about and I don't want to go too far off topic, but even when we're talking about things like reparations,
Yeah.
the concept is good.
Yeah.
And yes, I believe that there should be certain premises and pretenses on how it should absolutely be done.
Yeah.
The issue is we know the truth. All that we'll be doing is giving it right back. and stimulating the economy
Unfortunately.
because people don't have financial literacy, nor have they addressed their root issues.
So basically
Becoming
you're
a
saying it would be a
millionaire,
setup.
it is
It's a
absolutely a
setup.
setup.
Without
If you
the
want to pay,
context,
if you want
without
to pay down the national debt, go ahead and give reparations.
Mhm.
Do it.
Mhm.
And not only will we now be out of debt, but for those of us who do understand what to do with it, we'll be in a position of higher influence and credibility or
Right,
authority.
right, right.
But the reality is nothing changes if you don't change beforehand. Now you're
100%.
speeding up the process by which you need to get results.
Yeah.
And if you have the same limited amount of knowledge and understanding, then you can only go so far.
Because you can't wait until ... You have to start doing the things now.
Exactly. When opportunity presents itself, it's too late
It's
to
too
prepare.
late. You know, you should be
Absolutely.
doing that now. You should be working to be a better steward of all things
Absolutely.
now.
Absolutely.
Now.
Absolutely. Being a good steward of that 500 square foot studio apartment can earn your way up to
Yeah.
the 5,000 square foot one, and you'll understand the nuances of stewardship within it.
Yeah.
But if you just give that person in that 500 square foot apartment the money to go buy that house, they'll probably buy the house and then lose it.
Yeah. 100%.
So, yeah.
Well, that's really good. So yeah, I guess I didn't think about it in that way until you said it about how much we put so much emphasis on identity and
And equated
finances
to
being
finance. Yeah.
that's deep. That's super deep.
Yeah. And the reality is you have to decouple the two because finding yourself in a situation, Lord forbid, you have to go through bankruptcy. That does not make you a failure.
Yeah.
That does not make you a loser.
Yeah.
That makes you someone who has a financial reorganization issue.
Yeah.
That's simply it. You do
That's
not
it.
have to
Doesn't
adapt to the
define you.
identity
Right.
of the situation,
Doesn't
but
define
most
you.
of the times we do.
Yeah.
Think it's the equivalent of saying I'm angry versus I'm experiencing anger.
Yeah.
The two are very much different.
Yeah. Or even the term like millionaire, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that
we
you
can
have
talk
to
about that.
classify your tax bracket,
Mhm.
essentially. That to me, I've always kind of felt like that's unnecessary. That's just how I view things because that goes back to the identity and finances and the way in which we see things. And so if you start to name people by their tax bracket, because you don't name anybody beyond lower than that. You
Exactly.
start at millionaire, that's to almost say that I'm better than you. I'm attaching my wealth to who I am or how I identify in the
Yeah,
world.
I agree.
And they're separate.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Your financial situation and how you live should not be a unique identifier from the person who makes less than you. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely
Nobody
not.
says, well, I'm a
I'm a thousandaire.
thousandaire. Like
I'm a
nobody walks
hundredaire.
around and says that. I
Yeah.
do notice that you start to say those things when I've hit millionaire status, and it's like,
Well, that's because six figures don't hit the same no more.
have
I mean, let's be real. Because that
so let me ask you, are you saying that we should keep that because it's like
No,
we've made it?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Because we ain't made nothing.
I'm just asking.
No. What I'm saying is, based on the economic stimulation that's come about, let's call it over the last 30 years, because
Mhm.
prior to that, you didn't really hear about anybody being a billionaire.
Facts.
If you were a millionaire, you were up amongst the most exclusive.
Yeah.
If you made six figures,
Yeah.
you were him or her.
Yeah.
You were doing it.
Yeah.
Now, six figures does not feel like six figures
Yeah.
because of inflation. Millionaires, over 1,800 millionaires are being made per day.
Mhm.
Over 1,100 of them are here in this country. So it's very common.
Mhm.
So now you have to inch it up to make billionaire the thing you want to do. I laugh like Vic Mensa. You're not gonna get there in most cases, but hey, if that's what you're seeking, my question for you is why?
And it's a identifier.
Exactly. But the thing is, are you trying to stroke your ego or are you trying to create something that's going to change the world and shift the trajectory of the people who need you?
Yeah.
Because if you're going off of the status of by how much you make, you're leading with my money is my value.
That is my
And that's
whole
the issue.
point for
That is
bringing
the
up the
issue.
fact that there's an identifier for a tax bracket.
Absolutely. No, I get it. I think it's funny because regardless of where we are or how much, we're worth on paper or liquidity
Right,
wise,
right,
we don't give a damn.
right,
like
right.
like that
Okay.
doesn't matter, but
Yeah.
that's also because we've been exposed to things where we understand that this is not the pinnacle.
Right.
Most people, once again, once I get here, then I'll get to have and I'll get to live and I'll get to do. And
It's all
that's
about
typical.
self.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and usually that's not the case.
Yeah.
Most of us are chasing stuff, but in my head, that's the hole in the bucket, syndrome. You're gonna keep trying to pour and pour and pour, and you're gonna stay empty. Ye
Yeah. And
Really.
it's the American dream that they've sold you. Your guy that you just mentioned, Vic, he said something about how they'll make it seem very attainable, right?
Yeah, yeah, buying a private island.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
they 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 make it seem, especially with social media, right? And you
especially
see
with
all these
social media.
people living these ideal lives, and you're just thinking like, what are they doing that I can't do or that
Yeah,
I
what am I
can't
not
figure
doing
out? What am
right?
I not doing
Yeah,
so that I can become this millionaire or this? Little do you know that there's a lot of millionaires who live paycheck to paycheck. Like there's a whole
most of
plethora of
them.
things that happen when you're talking about status, and it really has nothing to do with status. It's about how you organize and manage your money. Still,
Absolutely,
regardless, that's what it comes down to. It's
absolutely.
not about the amount, it's still about how you're
It's
stewarding these
retention.
things.
It's
So that's why
retention.
I think that having tax bracket identifiers is kind of pointless in my opinion, because you can hit that status and still be living the same way you did when you didn't have the money.
Absolutely,
So we should just
absolutely.
go ahead and separate the two. I think that's big. We can do away with the shame that comes from not being in a certain status. We can do away from the the ego stroke that comes from someone who's hit a certain tax bracket. We could do without that too, because again, these are tools, right?
Absolutely.
For you to do something to impact others. It's not all about self. And when I get here, I'm going to have this and I'm going to have that, because you're making it all about you when you could use the money and the status and the influence to create a better situation for those around you. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
to
Yeah,
me, we really got to separate the two so that there's not this roadblock in between those who have and those who don't have.
I agree. Absolutely.
That's just
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, One thing I do want to kind of bring about, I just thought about it because we're talking about counseling
yeah.
and its effects on finances and vice versa. So there are a couple stats I do want to bring about because
Okay.
I did find this interesting. Now I know 36% of divorces, as of end of 2024, ended based on what was, narrowed out to be financial reasons.
Mhm.
Um, but I just wanted to bring up a couple of things. So it turns out, based on research, that the financial stress is the number one predictor of divorce.
Mhm.
And during tax season, mental health professionals actually do see an average of about 28% spike in clients reporting high intensity anxiety and marital conflicts specifically linked to fiscal transparency. 25 to 30%.
Wow.
So we're at right at 28%, and I've seen 25 on some, 30 on others, so that's why I said 27 and 28. But what I'm realizing is
Oh.
there's a period of collective trauma, and in this period, the authority or the government, whatever, demands an account for your value
Right.
or your income over the
Right.
last year, and so for a lot of people, it triggers a deep-seated, uh, almost like a child wound, if you will.
Mm.
Because now all of a sudden I have to take a look at the performance that I had over the last year, and then you get to hold me accountable to how well I controlled myself.
Talking about
It
the spouse.
Mhm. And and our overall worth. Most people don't talk about this stuff. They don't think about this stuff. They don't
Mhm.
see this stuff. They don't even wanna know. Hell, I can't tell you how many clients we've gotten, whether I had to litigate or we're preparing their taxes or whatever the case may be. They bring me the closed W-2.
Mhm.
They don't want to
Wanna
know.
see. Yeah.
And so now, since with me reading up though on those statistics, it really helps me understand Kinda going back to those 3 things: your grief, your, shame-induced paralysis, and your, resentment. Those 3 things, none of them are almost none of them are purely about money.
Mhm.
But if the whole focus for both individuals or for the family throughout that whole 12-month is accumulation, 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 meanwhile, our lifestyles are not, based on us being good investors, good stewards, it's based on us being consumers and spending, then now all of a sudden, when I realize you didn't have taxes taken out on your
And
income.
it's affecting our
Exactly, or I
oh my
changed dependents
goodness.
on mine, or I went, I meant to go exempt for 2, 3 months because we were going through a rough patch, but then I forgot, and now here we are 6, 9 months in,
Extra stressor.
we gotta carry that duty together.
Mhm.
And if the financial situation of the world, economy and inflation are already so high,
Mhm.
how much more stress did I just bring into our household?
Yeah.
Or when you find out I went and got that car
Mhm.
that I really couldn't afford because I didn't expect in September to lose my job, and now we're here. Now all that resentment is gonna fall back on me because I made a decision based on ego to go get this thing. We got to figure out how to pay for it, and now all of a sudden we got a tax bill too.
But I think it makes sense as to why the statistic is the way it is, because if
Mhm,
you think about the fact that finances in an individual sense is already stressful, you add in another person
mhm.
that has their own set of whatever it
And
is,
then we're
right?
coming fresh off of the holidays too.
Right. And we're trying to navigate this as partners, but at the same time, it's already a personal stressor for me. Now, if you're not handling things well, or if things are not working well in our finances, that's putting a major stress on the way that we are going to be partners and the way that
Exactly.
we're going to operate as husband and wife.
Absolutely.
So that makes
Absolutely.
a lot of sense.
Mhm.
And it's why it's super, super important. Finances as a whole, really, to me, should be the very first thing of like the self care, wellness
Absolutely.
pie, because I feel like it lays the foundation and the root for everything else,
I agree.
i.e., marriage
Yeah.
sitting on top of that, and finances being one of the leading causes in divorces. It makes sense because it causes a lot of stress,
For a
like
lot of
high
people.
stress. So
Mhm.
I,
Yeah.
I guess the question that I had before, I actually want to reword the question and not know specifically how a counselor can help, but like, why is it important for someone or a family, a married couple or however, to seek these types of services? Why is that important for people
It is
to seek?
important because you don't know the answers and you don't have the objective opportunity to look at it from a place where you're zoomed out. A really
Mm,
good one of my mentors and friends, Gary Frey,
mhm.
he wrote this amazing book on
Silence the
silencing
imposter.
the imposter.
Yeah.
But as we were talking, one of the analogies that he broke out was you'll never be able to read the outside of the you'll never be able to
Read
read
the
the label
label.
from the inside of the jar. And so when he made
Wow.
that comment, that opened up a world for me because you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what
And
you
if
don't
there's
know.
somebody that is exclusively, specifically, and individually trained to help you navigate this,
Yeah.
then you owe it to yourself to find out what you don't know.
Yeah.
The thing that has continuously kept us in bondage, in this suffering mind state, in this scarcity mode, is the fact that we're afraid to go outside of tradition.
Yep.
We are usually too apprehensive to go deeper or seek the things because it becomes uncomfortable,
Mhm.
and we don't want to be stretched because we don't like the feeling.
Mhm.
So it is a professional's job to sit down with you and help you navigate that so that you can discover your blind spots.
Mm.
Um, and that's the best way I can put it. I think counseling is magic for multiple types of situations and I really believe when you find somebody who's qualified and good at what they do,
Mhm.
they can help you discover answers to questions you didn't know you had.
Mhm.
And that's why I pivoted my focus to cognitive economics.
Mhm.
It is
Makes a
a
lot of sense.
it yeah, it I saw too much in my time in the depth of finances.
Yeah.
I know too much from a place of economics and from a place of psychology to a point where I can't just sit and let it ride.
Right.
Um, So, to answer your question shortly, it's important because you don't know. Otherwise, you'd be doing better.
100%. Why do you hire, experts for anything?
Exactly.
It
Well,
is for the things that they know that
exactly.
can help you. So I that's golden. I mean, this was again really good because never heard of it. So I'm sure quite like me, a lot of people have never heard of this and know that it is available
Yeah.
for them, to
Yeah.
them. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely. Well, speaking of availability, so next month during Black History Month, we're actually going to be launching a program where, through our partners, we've scaled and built a financial counseling platform. And so we will actually be offering the opportunity to not only be able to get a financial counselor at a ridiculously affordable rate through
yeah,
Unified Principle in the 1863,
right,
in addition to that, we've set it up to where you don't need insurance because the price is so low, so we won't
right.
take insurance. But the other side of it is everybody's accredited
Yeah.
and certified or licensed. In addition to that, you can not only get the service, but you can speak to them unlimited.
Ooh,
Which means if you're going through a moment where you need to talk to somebody on a daily basis,
right.
Monday through Friday,
You have the
you
ability.
have that ability
Wow.
all through our company,
Wow.
so and our partners.
Yeah.
So, I'll be launching that and talking about that a little bit more,
Yeah.
as we get closer to time. We're just, breaking in all the things and getting our platform set up, but we have a we have a objective of healing and turning around as many people as we can
Yeah.
to get them in the right direction. And the reality is, we want to serve anybody who's looking to be served and
Yeah.
willing to do the work.
Yeah.
Um, like anything else, if you decide to go to counseling, go to therapy, whatever, whatnot, but you're not following up by doing the things, you're not going to get the response you need.
Yeah.
If you're at a point now where you want to see the change, you want to take control of the narrative, you want to pivot your situation, and you want to get the help from certified and accredited licensed professionals,
Yeah.
now is going to be your time, and I'm opening up the door, and it's not going to cost nearly what it would if you went through other places
Definitely.
based on our negotiations and our partnerships. So um much more is going to be coming out. And for anybody who's listening, I'm a cognitive economist. That does I'm not just a financial counselor. What that means is I operate at a slightly higher level. If you want to work with me, it's gonna cost you significantly
Well, that's
more.
somebody who willing to
Yeah,
invest.
now that's gonna
Yeah.
be an investment.
Yeah.
But we created these opportunities between the 1863 app and
Yeah.
our partnership with Questus because we wanted to make things accessible for the everyday person.
And I think that's beautiful. I think that's beautiful because, again, as you mentioned, this is not something that you were, most of us were not taught in school, we're not taught in college. Like, these are things that you mentioned that every person has to deal with. Everyone has to deal with their finances, but yet we are not given the tools, right? But here are the tools, here are the resources. So it's never too late for us to do better, for us to learn more, for us to take advantage of resources and things like counseling and the app. And so I encourage anyone who is serious about just being well. Again, as I said, I think finances is the first piece of that. These are amazing opportunities and tools that we all should be utilizing because,
Absolutely.
again, I think that kind of brings us full circle as to why the 1863 even exists. It's for us to take back that so-called or newly found freedom that we were supposed to have in 1863, but we were denied access to. Here we are in a situation where these tools and resources that we're offering puts us in an advantage in a place where you no longer have to be denied access to anything. Here
Absolutely.
it is,
Absolutely.
for us to do the things that we need to become financially free. So
Yes. That's it. That's it.
that's beautiful. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
As
I
am I.
can't wait.
As am I, man.
Got a few days before it's here, so I'm
Yes.
excited about it
Yes.
all.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to it.
And with that being said, as we like to end out every episode,
Hey,
it's gonna be
freedom's a right,
catchy.
liberation's a choice.
Get
Get right
right before
before
you
you get
get left.
left. Peace.